What is Zeitgeist? Zeitgeist is originally a German expression that means spirit of the age, literally translated as time for Zeit and spirit for Geist. Wikipedia uses the phrases Hegelian thinking and dialectical progression to describe it. Hi, my name is Nicholas. This is my answer to Zeitgeist, the movie. When I watched the first version of this movie, it began with what is now Part 2, an expose of the lies in media about major events such as 9/11 and maladies prevalent in world society today, continuing with a broad overview of the manipulation of world events and the minds of people through blatant conspiracy implemented by this same spirit. The second part set about to destroy the idea that there is any remedy outside of mankind, such as a creator. However, this has been reversed with the latest release. Now that they have the traffic and your full attention, they want to immediately destroy your faith. So the chapter titled "The Greatest Story Ever Told," a plagiarized title, has been moved to Part 1. The message of this masterful piece of brainwashing? Man must look only to man for the remedy to the ills of mankind. This is exactly what the spirit of the age wants you to believe. Zeitgeist the movie is rat poison for your soul. 99% truth and 1% lies, though Part 1 is far more than 1% lies, as I am going to show you. And after I do my expose on Part 1 of Zeitgeist, I'd like you to stick around for a very special message.
This is the sun. As far back as 10,000 BC, history is abundant with carvings and writings reflecting people's respect and adoration for this object. And it is simple to understand why, as every morning the sun would rise, bringing vision, warmth, and security, saving man from the cold.
The movie starts with a brief litany of the history of sun worship, mixing in scriptural phrases in order to prime you for the lies to follow. Misapplied phrases such as God's sun, the light of the world, and the Savior of humankind, all in an effort to build false associations in your mind.
God's Son, the light of the world, the Savior of humankind. This is Horus. He is the sun god of Egypt of around 3000 BC. He is the sun anthropomorphized in his life.
Then they introduce Horus, the Egyptian sun god. Is God's sun the same as the sun god or the son, son of God? They do not expect you to question, but mindlessly absorb their deceptive brainwashing monologue. Nowhere in the pure ancient mythology of sun worship do you find the travels of God's sun through the zodiac. But you do find the travels of the sun God through the zodiac. The difference is clear, and so is the deception. Then they label Horus the solar Messiah, and go on to draw comparisons between the Hebrew Messiah and Horus, mislabeled a Messiah.
Broadly speaking, the story of Horus is as follows. Horus was born on December 25th of the Virgin Isis Mary. His birth was accompanied by a star in the east, which, in turn, 3 kings followed to locate and adorn the newborn Savior. At the age of 12, he was a prodigal child teacher, and at the age of 30, he was baptized by a figure known as Anup, and thus began his ministry. Horus had 12 disciples he traveled about with, performing miracles such as healing the sick and walking on water.
Now let's look at their claims of parallels between Jesus and Horus. They say Horus was born on December 25th of the Virgin Isis Mary, with his birth be announced by a star in the east and attended by the 3 wise men. Let's take this one apart and deal with each separate issue. 1. According to historical legend, Horus was supposedly born on the last day of the Egyptian month Khoiak, which corresponds on our calendars to approximately November 15th, not December 25th. Beside the point, the true Hebrew Messiah was born in the spring, and no exact date is given for his birth, nor is there any biblical celebration authorized. The December 25th date for the Christ Mass Holy Day originated with the Roman Catholic Church's embrace of Babylonian pagan religion. Secondly, Horus's mother was not a virgin. She was married to Osiris, and there's no reason to suppose that she was abstinent after marriage, if even before. Horus was, per the story, miraculously conceived. Seth had killed and dismembered Osiris. Then Isis put her husband's dead body back together and had intercourse with it. In some versions, she used a handmade phallus, since she wasn't able to find that part of her husband. So while it was a miraculous conception, it was not a virgin birth. Also, she was just Isis, not Isis Mary. The modern Christ mythers can't provide any historical for the claims of Isis being a virgin, or for Mary being part of her name. Only Christ mythers make the claim that Mary was part of her name. Very clever on their part. Let's just make stuff up, and people will believe it. Third, Horus was born in a swamp, not a cave or manger. Horus's birth was not announced by a star in the east. There were no 3 wise men at Horus's birth, nor at Jesus for that matter. The Bible never gives the number of wise men, and they showed up at Jesus' home, not the manger, and probably when Jesus was between a year and 2 years old. Travel was very slow in those days. Fourthly, there is no legend stating that any star announced Horus's birth, as the critics are claiming, or that the 3 wise men, the 3 stars in Orion's belt, attended at Horus's birth in any way. Also, Horus never taught in any temple at age 12, or any time that we can find. He was never baptized. There is no Anup the baptizer in the story. And Horus had 4 disciples, called Hero-Shimsu. There's another reference to 16 followers, and a group of followers called Mesnui, blacksmiths, who joined Horus in battle. But they are never numbered. However, no reference can be found to 12 followers, or any of them being named Anup or An. They say Horus walked on water. No, he did not. It takes very little in the way of research to overthrow all of these lies. 200 years from now, you will find all of these claims in 200-year-old documents. But you cannot find them in 200-year-old documents today. These are all the invention of those who are deceived and wish to deceive you.
The fact of the matter is, there are numerous saviors from different periods from all over the world which subscribe to these general characteristics. The question remains, why these attributes? Why the virgin birth on December 25th? Why dead for 3 days in the inevitable resurrection? Why 12 disciples?
Then comes their long list of saviors with supposed Christ-like attributes that never claim to save anybody. Then they ask you, why? We should ask them, why do you lie? If we believe your lie too, will that make it come true?